Hello niece and nephew, today you will be learning programming with Uncle Sam. Nah, I'm just kidding, I'm not gonna talk like that the whole time. Anyway, welcome to this Learn From Home session brought to you by Penang Tech Dome and presented by Caritech. I am Sam, I'll be your host and walk you through this introduction to programming with PHP. Okay, so let's get started. Here's a quick overview. You got 1 second. Okay, so let's hop to it. Introduction. Who are we? So here at Caritech, we are a dedicated software house based in Penang, and we specialize in all sorts of web-based, cloud-based systems, as well as mobile apps. Okay, that's some of us down there. Okay, so what is web programming? Well, programming is a language. Okay, and it is a language that we use to talk to the computers and the servers. Okay, so although you might think that programming is a very math heavy thing to do, actually it has been found that people who pick up languages easier, linguists if you will, do quite well at programming. So don't despair if you're not that great at math but you love programming, because it's a language. Yeah. Okay, so the most common web programming languages are things like XML, HTML, JavaScript, and of course PHP. Okay, so basically it's just how we tell our computers to do the things that we want them to do. Okay, rightio. So yeah, here's just a brief intro to the different types of web languages out there. So like in the real world, how we have a lot of different languages that we speak in different countries, likewise we have multiple different ways of talking to computers. Okay, so yep, if you recall, we did some HTML and JavaScript and CSS. So today we will be looking at this one here, PHP. Okay, all right, so front end or back end, what does that mean? Okay, so front end and back end refer to the different functions of different languages. So front end is what we call client side. It is what you see now on your computer. It is what runs on your computer itself. Okay, as opposed to the back end, which is the guys behind the scenes. It's the code that generates all the data, compiles everything, and talks to the servers. It's called what we refer to as server side. Okay, so that's backend. Okay, so here you have a few, but yeah, see if you can guess which one is which. There you go. Here's some common ones for you. So common front end languages are, as we know, HTML, which dictates pretty much everything you see on your screen, on your mobile, as well as CSS and JavaScript. Get some cool effects there. Okay, so those are front end ones, and on the back end ones we have PHP, which is one of the language we will be talking about today. Of course, there are other ones like .NET. Okay, so these guys are the ones that work quietly in the background, the quiet achievers. All right, so what is PHP? Let's get into it. PHP. So PHP stands for, well, doesn't really stand for much, but it stands for Hypertext Preprocessor. Okay, it's a bit of a tongue twister there. Hypertext Preprocessor. Okay, so it is a very widely used open source scripting language. Okay, so open source just means that it's available for use by everybody. Okay, and server side scripting. Okay, so you've heard me use the term server. So what is a server? Okay, so server-side scripting is basically code that runs from the server. Okay, and the client is, as I mentioned, it is what you see before you. It's your computer, it's your mobile, it's your device. The thing that presents the information to you. Okay, so there is client-side scripting, which is what we learned last time. HTML, JavaScript. So those run on your device, okay? But server-side scripting is run from the server. So your device will talk to that thing in the sky, the cloud, okay? That is the server, and then the server will generate a response to your device, okay? So There you go. So as I mentioned just now, this is the cloud, the almighty cloud. So what is the cloud really? Well, you know, not to burst your bubble or anything, but the cloud is really just this. So in case you have not seen a server, you know, rack or a server system before, this is what it looks like. So it's kind of dim, very cool, you know, because these servers are basically computers, lots and lots of computers stacked together. And as you know, computers, when they are on and they run 24/7, they generate a little bit of heat, you know, with those fans going. So these rooms keep them cool, keep everything, you know, nice and under control, enough power to let it control our data. Okay, so these are servers. This is the cloud. Okay, so now that you know what a server is, let's talk a little bit about the history of PHP. So Rasmus Lerdorf, that's a funky name, he created the first version of PHP in 1994. So it was built from the C language. So if you've heard of C, it is it's one of the core, the foundations of everything that we code in. Okay, don't ask me what happened to A and B. Yeah, they probably drowned in the sea. Okay, right, and yes. So anyway, he created PHP, and it wasn't until 1995 that he released the first version, and it was referred to as Personal Homepage Tools, PHT, I guess. Okay, and then you know, eventually version 3 and 4 and 5 got released, and then I guess you know, it came to get better and better, you know, as things are, you know, they innovated, and then for some reason they skipped 6. I don't know, people in the programming world just, you know, they're not great at numbers. See, did I mention that you don't need to be good at math to do programming? Okay, anyway, so currently we are using PHP version 7. But not everyone is. So there are some people a little bit stubborn who still want to use PHP 5. Okay, so you don't worry too much about this graph. This is just to tell you, you know, who's using what version. This is a couple of years old anyway. Okay, moving along. The big F. F for respect. Okay, so what is this F? I'm sure you recognize it. If you don't, then I don't know where you've been hiding, but it is Facebook. Yes, Facebook, your good friend, is written in PHP. So Mark Zuckerberg took PHP and he developed his own version, and he called it Hack, because he's a bit of a hacker, isn't he? Hacking all your personal data. Okay, anyway, so he took PHP and he ran with it, and so you are now using a version of PHP. Okay, powerful stuff, huh? Okay, so anyway, moving along, we are talking about PHP, and PHP comes in a file, as does everything else in coding, I guess. So how does PHP work? Like HTML and JavaScript, PHP kind of sits together. They play nice. So in a PHP file, you will have all different sorts of code. You have HTML code, you have CSS code, you have JavaScript code, and you will have PHP code. Okay, so PHP code, unlike HTML and JavaScript, which is executed on your computer, you know, PHP is as I mentioned, a server scripting language. So the PHP code is run on the server in the cloud. Okay, and you will be able to identify it by the .php extension of the file. Okay, so what can PHP do? So PHP is very powerful. It can do a lot of the things that the other languages can do, but it just does it in a different way. Okay, so it can generate lots of page content, images, text, you know, files. It can create, it can open, it can read and write files on the server itself. So it can change data, right? Okay, so now we're talking about a language that can do a little bit more than some of the other languages we were talking about. So HTML just dictates what you see, JavaScript, you know, dictates how you see it, and PHP dictates what happens to it. It can change it, it can mold it, it can collect it, it can send it, it can send and receive cookies. Okay, cookies. And it can also update, add, and delete data in databases. Okay, scary stuff. Okay, and it can also encrypt data. It's basically, it handles all the data that comes to and from your computer or your device, your phone, to the server, to the cloud. Okay. Cookie. Yeah, that's right. In case you don't know what cookies are, they're not. I'm not referring to this cookie, the thing you eat. It is cookies are it's a little file that's stored on your computer that helps the computers remember who you are and remember some of your details, so that they don't always need to refer to the cloud. Okay, so it's already stored on your computer. But because of that, you know, it is a little dangerous, because if people can access your cookies, they can access some of your personal data, right? Okay, go have a cookie now. Go have a cookie. Okay, so let's see. Local computer, right? This is a diagram that indicates how it works. So basically what I was talking about, the cloud. See the cloud? This is the interwebs, the mighty cloud, the blue nowhere. Okay, so what happens is your computer, you put in a website or you put in a, you know, a command, and it will go to the cloud, which is the web server. Okay, and it will, the PHP code will run on the web server, which has a PHP interpreter. Okay, so the interpreter doesn't sit in your computer, he sits in the web server on the cloud. Okay, and he goes, oh, you want to do this? Okay, go ahead. And he sends it back through the cloud, through the servers, into your computer. Okay, simple. So why do we use PHP? Because PHP is very flexible. It runs on lots of different platforms. Okay, and by platforms I don't just mean your own platform. It runs on the computer platforms in the cloud, in the servers, because servers are computers. Okay, and they're compatible with almost all the servers used today. Okay, so don't worry about these names. Yep. So basically, they're very powerful. It's a very powerful language. It runs very efficiently, and yeah, that's pretty much all you need to know. It plays well with others, works fast. What's not to like? Okay. So again, yep. You know, request response. Okay. So this is just to drive home the way PHP works. Okay. Server talks to the server. Server tells the computer what to do, okay, as opposed to the computer just doing things on its own. Okay, so of course, in order to code in a language, in a web programming language, you need to use the tags. Okay, so PHP works with these little things: question mark, PHP, close question mark. Again, the angular brackets, lovely. Okay, so when the server sees these PHP tags, it goes, oh cool, you want to run some PHP, eh? Alright, let's run some PHP. Okay, so remember the question marks. Okay, so you can do it question mark PHP, some whatever command, or you can just do angular brackets question marks. Okay, got it? Alright, here is an example of a very basic piece of code. So remember, see the question mark PHP and the closing tag, question mark, very simple. Okay, and in between we have this command, echo. So what is echo? The echo command is basically telling your browser to print some text in PHP. Okay, so go ahead, give it a try. Hint, use the echo. Okay, you can try on this website, or you can try on W3 School. There's some websites you can try out, but go ahead, you have a short moment. But I will move along. Okay, so next up we have this thing called variables. Okay, so variables are basically, if you remember your algebra, are you guys on algebra yet? I don't know. But anyway, variables are basically ways of assigning a name to something else, to a value. Okay, so yeah, we can stick the cash money sign. It's very cash money, yeah. And you can put it in front of the name of the variable name, and then after the equal sign you tell the computers, the servers, what value you want. So it can be text, it can be a number, okay, it can be a string, okay. So it's basically it's just a way of calling the data. All right, So here is just a little infographic for you to understand. Okay, so again, remember, start with the cash money, and then you follow it with whatever else, you know, usually A to Z or numbers or underscores. Okay, so this forms the entire PHP variable. Okay, so this is an example of a variable. So the cool thing is you can call the variable whatever you want. It can be you can call it, you know, cash cat, or, you know, spicy ramen. Okay, so in this case, in this example, we put the cash with the programming, because we're all about programming. Okay, and then you have the little equal sign, and then you remember these little inverted commas, and then yeah, you know, is damn a swear word? I don't know. Anyway, we're trying to keep this, you know, kid friendly, but damn, that's cool. Okay, and then so once you assign this to this tag, so once you assign this value to this variable, then every time you do a function with this variable, it will generate this. So instead of saying echo is damn cool, you would say echo this variable, or do whatever you want with the variable, and it will do the thing with the variable. Okay. All right, give that a yeah. Here's a little bit of infographic just to drive it home. Okay. So PHP variables. Remember the cash money, and whatever the name. The name can be whatever you want. It can be your name, your cat's name, your dog's name, your parents' name. Okay, your school's name. Okay, and then equal any value. You want it to be a number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You want it to be a string. You want it to be anything. Okay, now go ahead and stick some values to variables and try printing them out. Not like literally, okay? Because please don't waste paper. Just print it out on your screen, on the screen. Hint: use the echo. Echo 1 2. Echo 1 2. Okay. Foxtrot Tango Charlie. Right. Operators. You guys probably don't know where this is from, but this is the operators of the future. Yes. So PHP operators, what are they? They are these cool symbols. Okay, not the round circles. Okay, the equals, the little circle, the two equals. Yeah. You gotta have equals, double equals. Okay, less than equals, more than equals, exclamation mark equals. Okay, so they all have different functions. Okay, go ahead and try them out. So what do these operators do? Well, there you go. Here is what they do in Excel. Okay, but they're more or less the same. Okay, so PHP also has statements. You know, so again, like in JavaScript, there is the all-powerful if and else if statements. Okay, so again, you can use them in PHP, just like the operators. Okay, so here, go ahead, try and with your PHP variables, go ahead and play around with them with the statement, with if else, and stick some operators in there. You can combo it, three-way combo, combo. Okay, so remember, go ahead and use those operators. All right, let's move along. What is an array? Here is an array. Okay, do you see a pattern? You see a pattern, guys? Okay, so an array is basically a bunch of data that is arranged in such a way that we can call certain parts of that array, or we can call the whole thing in a systematic, way. I think I explained that all right. Okay, so PHP has arrays. Okay, you can create arrays. Okay, so they have numeric arrays with numbers, associative arrays, okay, and multi-dimensional arrays. Okay, and then there's a function that will show you what the array is in the array, and it's called print_r, and then the array variable. Okay. All right. So array model. Yes. So as I was just saying, this is what an array looks like. Okay. So the data is a star, and then you stack them like this, and it forms an array. Okay. So if I wanted to refer to a specific star, I just need to give the computer the coordinates of that specific star. Okay. All right. So here is an example of a numeric array. Okay. So you assign a number to a certain value, and then you can call that specific number. Okay, if you ever want to, or you can just print the whole array. Okay. Now associative arrays, you associate one variable with a certain value, or multi-dimensional arrays. Okay, so this is where it gets a little crazy, a little cray. Okay, so you can have arrays in arrays, all stacked up. It's crazy, but it is a very organized way of arranging your data. Okay, multi-dimensional power. Okay, so here you go. Go ahead and try to create a simple numeric array. Okay, that's an array of numbers. Okay, all right. Now, as of course with programming, everyone loves the loops, the infinite loops. Bing, 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 bing. Okay, so PHP has loops. So these are some of the commands. Use the while or the do while, do. Okay, for and for each, not for chan. Okay. Okay, so yeah, give those a shot. Here's an example. So remember the question mark. Okay, the variable, assigning a value to a variable, and then you go while this is this. So conditions, while, remember the while this variable is less than or equals to 5, you do this. Okay, and then you have another one. So basically, you get this loop coming out. Okay, and this is just another way of doing it with the do function. Okay, all right, and then here's just some other ways of doing the same loop. You can have a for, or you can have a for each. They're just different ways of writing the same thing. Okay, so as you can see here, we have a little array going. Okay, all right. So, well, here's your head spinning it. Oh, you're throwing me for a loop. Okay, so here is an exercise for you. So try to create a loop to display only the even numbers from 2 all the way until 10. Only the even numbers. Okay, so use the for loop. This is not a grammatical error. Okay, hint. All right, now we move along. Now we talk about PHP functions. So functions are, of course, strong, more powerful commands. It is a piece of PHP code that has been written, and it does some special function. Okay, so let's have a look at some functions here. Here are some functions. Call the call function. There's a number of functions that you can learn, but we won't go too much into it. There's like ones like show word, right? Okay, so you can just set that. You can use that function to do the same thing. Yeah, so go ahead, try using a function called write message, write MSG. Okay, not the monosodium glutamate, not the MSG, very good for you. No, not the MSG. Okay, don't need too much MSG, but just write it. Okay, write it. So see if you can do this. Get it multiple times without typing the whole thing out. Okay, all right, so that's PHP in a nutshell. We will quickly touch on some other things like creating your own server. Do it yourself, Mr. DIY or Miss DIY, I guess. Right, so yeah, let's turn your computer into a web server. So how do you do that? Okay, so there are 2 programs out there that are quite good to try. Okay, because PHP, like I mentioned, is a server-side scripting language. So you'll need a server. So if you aren't subscribed to the cloud, you don't have some cloud hosting, then you'll need to host it on your own computer. Okay, and you can do that with one of these two programs. I recommend these. They are free to use. One is called XAMPP, not XAMPP, because that just sounds like my name, XAMPP. Okay, XAMPP or WAMP or WAMP, I guess, if you really want to. Okay, so yeah, I mean, here's a comparison of the two, but really you can use either one. Okay, so these are just programs that you can download for free, and you can run them, and they will turn your computer into a mini server. Okay, that's all you need to know. Okay, so this is what XAMPP looks like. So these are the different types of server languages that you want to use: MySQL, Apache, and you just hit the start button, and it will go nuts. Okay, so I mentioned MySQL just now. Let's talk a little bit about MySQL. So MySQL is a database management system. Okay, so it is a way of managing the data on the server. So if you do some web programming, you probably have come across MySQL or MySQL, as some people will call it. Okay, so it's a good choice. It is licensed. There is a open source version called PostgreSQL or PostgreSQL. You can look that up. But yes, basically it works well with a lot of things. So MySQL just runs on the database. Okay, so it has some commands like select, update, delete, insert, create table, alter table, drop table. Be careful when you use drop table, okay, because it will just delete all your data. So tables are ways of storing data, okay, in the database. Yes, you'll hear those words a lot if you end up in the programming world. Okay, so we don't need to worry too much about it, but just for you guys to get an idea. Yes, so these are some of the commands of MySQL. Okay, select, update, delete. Okay, so these commands will be run by PHP. So PHP will talk to the server and talk to MySQL, and it will do these commands. So these commands affect the data. Okay. All right. Anyway, and then we will end with a little bit of PHP frameworks. So PHP frameworks are basically prefab structures. Okay, so they are pre-built PHP architecture, I guess is the word. Imagine if you were to build a building, instead of stacking the bricks one by one, which would be the individual code, you just get the whole wall and you just drop it there. Whole wall, 1 wall, 2 wall, 3 wall, 4 walls, you're done. Okay, so it's a lot faster. It speeds up the development process, and because it's already got some inbuilt things, so it's about choosing the right framework for you. Okay, and a few popular PHP frameworks are these guys. Okay, so there's Laravel, CodeIgniter, Yi, and there's OpenCart. If you do any online selling, you may have heard of OpenCart. It's quite a popular PHP framework that is catered for e-commerce. So it's got all the functions you need for your products and your shopping cart and your checkout. Okay. All right. So in summary, PHP is a server-side scripting language, as I mentioned. It's on the back end, not the front end. Okay, and it talks to MySQL, which is the language on the server. Okay, so PHP needs to talk to a server because it's a server-side language. Okay, but don't worry, it's all free to use. It's just that the database, the server space isn't free. Okay, so you have to pay a little bit of money for that, a little bit of cash money. Okay, but apart from that, we recommend trying out some pure PHP, but also once you get good at the basic PHP, you can try some frameworks. Okay, to really speed up some of that process. Okay, thank you very much. That is all from me. Stay cool, stay safe, stay healthy, nieces and nephews, and I bid you adieu from Sam. Have a good one. Thanks for listening.